See? Cheers! That was funny. So, why did we just open a bottle of Prosecco and scare my poor darling cat with that little pop? I finished my first draft. So, cheers! This is a champagne glass. You want to see the bubbles? You can't drink this, but you can sniff it. Just look at me like, what is wrong with you? So this is one of my wedding day champagne glasses. I figured it would be perfect to bust it out today because it is currently June 13th, so it is Friday the 13th. That is why I have my Supernatural blanket set up back here and our fun little Spooky Poe friend. I'm also wearing this shirt. I got it down in New Orleans. It is a shirt of the Rougarou, which is kind of like a werewolf creature in Cajun folklore, which, funny enough, I actually learned about through Supernatural, even though they did a completely like different lore for it, because that's what they did with a lot of creatures that they like looked into and adapted for that show. It is one of my favorite shows of all time. Although I did stop watching after, I think I was in the middle of season 14 when I kind of fell off. I heard a lot about the end of the 15th season that I wasn't super happy about, so I didn't really want to put myself through that. That's a tangent. But yeah, so we're kind of doing a little bit of a celebratory happy Friday the 13th, happy I finished my first draft. This was a couple weeks ago, so it's only now that I've gotten to sit down and actually try to enjoy it. A lot of shit has been going on, which I won't go into, but it's been a pretty stressful like month and a half, I want to say. So it was a little bit of a struggle to get to the end of the book. I'm not like super happy with the way that I ended it, just because I've been so stressed out and like things have been going on a lot lately. It didn't come out the way that I wanted it to. I had to, for the first time, not the first time, but like one of the only times that I have had to use the like put in brackets and like finish this scene later trick that I use to get past parts that I have writer's block with was in the last 2 chapters of this book. So I kind of feel like I cheated a little bit and like skimped out on writing the ending, but I just like, I really couldn't put into words in a story form of what I wanted for the ending. So instead I just did kind of a play-by-play, like this is supposed to happen, this is supposed to happen, and then these two do this, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's not ideal, it's not what I wanted to, like I really wanted to finish strong, but it's a first draft, so I can always go back and like actually write those out when I have the mental capacity to make it good. So yeah, the book is done, so cheers. Woo, bazinga. I'm really happy and I wanted to celebrate, and I wanted to celebrate with you guys. So it's been a little bit, and I thought that this would be a nice video to do. So yeah, I guess this video, we gotta talk about what's next. So again, right now I am just celebrating. Currently the novel is a little bit over 95,000 words. I would anticipate there's probably about 10 to 15,000 words missing between like some world building things that I have to add in that I already know I have to do, and then also just the few scenes that I did the few scenes that I did have to skip. So that's my guesstimate. It would be kind of cool to look back on this and see if I'm right, and if the, you know, word count ends up being 105, 110,000 words when I finish the second draft. So immediate next steps is I'm gonna take a break. I don't know who specifically has said this, since I've like done like a lot of master classes and read a lot of articles and stuff like that, but I do know like a lot of authors, even when you go to like conventions and talk to like small indie authors and stuff like that, they suggest that you don't touch the manuscript again for like at least a week or 2, sometimes longer. You know, you want to give your brain a break to kind of separate yourself from the story, so that when you go back and read it for the first time, you kind of go into it with fresh eyes. And it's been a while since I like did any read through of the story, but I want to give myself at least a week or 2 before I start to reread it from, you know, start to finish again. So I will be taking a break from like actual writing, but I won't actually be taking a break from the story itself, because there are a couple things that I want to tackle while I'm doing this break that would be better for me to finish before I go back and do a rewrite. And those few things are, I need to create the map finally, because I like vaguely know where the characters come from, but I don't have any names for them. The map itself is like pretty similar to ours, so I don't have to like come up with the actual continents themselves, but I do need to come up with like country names and like territories and that kind of stuff because it's all very different. The other thing that I need to work on is the language. I know the basics for the languages, but I don't know what certain ones are called. I don't like particularly have a lot of the slang down that like people would be using, you know, in this like new world that I have created. And then, you know, just like some small things based on the map, like foods and practices based on like those kind of territory breakdowns. That's like another thing that I only have kind of like partially figured out, and it needs a little bit more like robust development for the second pass, so it really feels like a rich lived-in world. So the goal is to have those things figured out and kind of like fleshed out before I start the reread, so that when I'm taking my notes on edits that I have to do, I kind of know exactly where certain pieces of world building information have to go. You know, I'll have a better idea of like how to fill in some scenes that I missed, because even though way back when I did on this channel like I was mapping out the holidays for this world. Well, I have like most of the holidays down and like some of their practices. There's definitely some that are featured in the book that I don't know all of the intricacies of the rituals and like festivities and stuff like that that go on. So I'll need to know a little bit more for the second rewrite. I would ideally like to be able to start reading and editing in July, because right now, again, I mean, I finished the book a couple weeks ago, so I've already kind of taken a break, but I'm gonna take one more week just to kind of reset because I've been a little bit burnt out recently. And the week after that is my birthday, and I am also going to Toronto for the Stray Kids concert there, which I'm really, really excited about. I've been looking forward to it for months, so I really don't think that I will be able to like get started on any of the writing before then, but I do want to have the world building like kind of done and fleshed out by the time I leave for my Stray Kids trip. So that's probably what I'm going to be doing over the next 2 weeks. Yeah, I guess, I don't know, that's really it. That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to do a quick little update of like, I finished my first draft, so now what? I really would like to be able to send this out to beta readers by the end of the summer, which is an aggressive goal. We'll see if I can do it, because I did not like finish the first draft in under a year like I wanted to. It did take me a year to write it, which I'm okay with. You know, I've said it before on this channel, like goals are meant to push you, but if you can't accomplish them or they change, like that's okay. Like it's really all just like in service of getting you to the finish line. And a lot of stuff happened this year that like, you know, made it harder for me to get the draft done quickly. You know, like I had my wedding, which I got this fancy like champagne glass for. A lot of crazy shit has been happening in the world, and you know, I got my wisdom teeth out last month. My cat's been sick lately. She's doing okay now. We took her to the vet and she's on a medication, so she's doing much better than she was earlier. You know, just life happens. Life always happens, and you know, you gotta be able to roll with it and adapt to it and keep going. So I'm okay with the fact that I stayed on my record of completing a first draft in a year. I don't know if I'll ever be able to like write one in a shorter time than that. If I can't, then that's okay. At least I have a couple under my belt now, so you know, if I did ever get a contract with a publishing house or something like that, I'll have some backlogs that I can present. But I don't know, I don't really have anything else to ramble about now. If you're working on a manuscript or any kind of creative project and you have completed it, or you're close to completing it and you want to talk to me about it, like please let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear about your process, any struggles that you had, or what your next steps are going to be for, you know, the next iteration of what you're working on. Happy Friday the 13th. I hope you have a good spooky day, and see you next time. Oh.